I'm 27 years old. I'm a dentist working in London, earning around 100k a year. And my goal is to eventually leave dentistry completely. Not tomorrow, not next month, but over time. Because the reality of earning this kind of money in the UK is very different from what most people imagine. And the more I've experienced it, the more I've started questioning whether this is something I want to do long term. Now, before I get into the numbers, I just want to make one thing very clear. I'm not saying 100k isn't a good income. It is. And I'm aware that puts me in a better position than a lot of people. But I think there's a big gap between what people think a 100k job looks like versus what it actually feels like in reality. And this doesn't just apply to dentistry, it applies to most people working normal jobs as well. Whether you're earning 30k, 50k, or 100k a year, a lot of the same problems still exist. So first, how much do I actually make? It's not a fixed monthly salary. It mainly depends on how many days I work, the types of treatments I'm doing. Some months I might earn around 7k, other months closer to 9k. So when I say 100k a year, that's more of an average, not a guaranteed number. Now, this is where things start to change because a large portion of that income is taxed. In the UK, once you start earning at this level, you're effectively paying around 40% tax on a big portion of what you earn. So, straight away, a significant chunk of that 100k is gone. And this is something a lot of people underestimate. They just hear the number 100k, but they don't think about how much actually that gets taken home. And the same applies to lower incomes as well. The more you earn, the more the system takes from you. Then you add the cost of living. London is extremely expensive, and it's not just one thing, it's everything combined. Renting takes a big chunk of your income. Then you've got food, transport, general day-to-day spending, and it all adds up very quickly. So even with a strong income, you still feel like you're not getting ahead as much as you've expected. I think a lot of people assume that once you hit a certain income level, life becomes easy, that you're financially free, or that you've made it. But the reality is, you're still working almost every day. You're still tied to one job, and your entire lifestyle depends on that income continuing. And that's something most people can relate to. It doesn't matter if you're earning 30k or 100k, you're still part of the same exact system. Another thing people don't really see is how much money is actually earned. Dentistry is demanding. It requires constant focus, precision, and responsibility. You're dealing with patients all day, making decisions where mistakes aren't really an option. And over time, it becomes mentally draining and physically repetitive. So the income doesn't feel passive, it feels like something you have to actively earn every single day. And this is probably the biggest lesson I've realized. My income is completely tied to my time. If I don't show up, I don't earn. There's no leverage, there's no flexibility, and this is true for most jobs. Whether you're earning around 30k or 50k, you're still trading time for money, just at different levels. And this is where my thinking started to change, because even earning close to 100k, I don't feel like I have freedom. I have stability, but I don't have flexibility. And those are two very different things. Stability keeps you comfortable, but flexibility is what gives you options. And that's why my goal is to eventually leave dentistry completely. Not because it's a bad career, but because I don't want my life to be tied to one profession forever. I don't want my income to depend entirely on me showing up every single day. I want something that gives me more freedom, more flexibility, and more control over my time. So instead of focusing on earning more, I've started thinking differently about how I can build an income outside of my job, how I can reduce my reliance on one system and create more flexibility in my life. Because increasing income alone doesn't solve my problem, it just makes the system more comfortable. Over the next few videos, I'm going to break this down properly, my actual expenses, how much I'm saving, and what I'm doing with that money. Because the goal isn't just to earn well, it's to eventually build a life that isn't completely dependent on this system. And just to be clear, I'm not saying dentistry is a bad path. For a lot of people, it works really well, but for me, it's made me realize something important, that even a high income doesn't automatically mean freedom, and that's the part I'm trying to figure out. So for now, I'm just documenting my journey.